How do you know when you know someone? What does it mean to know someone completely? When you ask the question, do you know him? What does knowing him really mean? Isn't it simply about putting a name to a face? Imagine walking into your favourite of the 3 supermarkets in Ramsbottom. You see someone you recognise, kind of. You rack your brains, and then you think, oh yeah, it's Mary who lives round the corner. Once you've worked out who they actually are, you make a choice. You either choose to engage in conversation with them or you hide around the corner until they've disappeared. We don't do that, do we? Or maybe knowing someone is about knowing a few facts about them. I'm a big fan of Bridget Jones, I might be ashamed to say. There's a scene in the first film where Bridget is involved in some event where they're introducing one another to one another. And what happens is that they say 3 vaguely interesting facts and they share them with whoever is there. Something like, Adam is married to Eve, he's a big fan of apples, and he likes to spend his time in the garden. It would be fair maybe to say that you know Adam if you know some facts about him, but do you actually know him? Because if that's how you know him, then we could know people by memorising a random series of facts about them. We could just read about them and include some obscure facts, be able to recall them at a moment's notice. And people will think we know them, a bit like being on Mastermind. It doesn't mean that we know them. It just means that they're not a stranger anymore. But the way you come to actually know someone is you share experiences with them. You get to know their story. You get to know what makes them tick. You come to know who they are when you spend time in their company and hear what they have to say and watch how they react. And even when you've known someone for a long time and you know them better than you know yourself, it seems, there are days when you're surprised by what they do and what they say. And it's the same with Jesus. By asking the question, do you know him, of ourselves, we become open to the fact that there is always more to know and that our relationships with him can grow deeper and deeper. By asking the question, do you know him, to others, we get to hear their stories, and in their stories, we might learn more of who Jesus is. As we read scripture, and particularly as we read the Gospels, where the stories of Jesus are told, we get to know him more. We get to know what inspires him, we get to know the values he holds high, and we get to know what motivates him. We get to know who he really is. The Gospel writers take different approaches as well in the way they talk about Jesus. You get Mark, who comes across as really very excited. It's a bit of a rush job, and he says this happened and this happened and this happened. Yet he doesn't reveal really the source of his excitement at first. He keeps it a bit of a mystery. We know something is going on, but he's hanging on to the big reveal. John, on the other hand, gets it all out there at the beginning of the first chapter. He says everything, who Jesus is in those first 14 verses. Jesus is Word made flesh, light in darkness. His excitement presents the facts first and then unpacks the stories later. The Gospel writers, though, in all their different stories and accounts and ways of telling, they unite around one man. They unite around Jesus, who is one of us. He is fully human and he's also fully God. As we discover more and more about Jesus in the coming weeks, whether it's something new or it's rediscovery of what you've known before, that encourages us to be more confident in our faith and to share that knowledge and experience with those around us. As we begin our Do You Know Him journey, we begin with a story where the true nature of who Jesus really is revealed to the disciples, and this sets the scene for what is to come.